Hey everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you guys? I am excited to be with you. I am so happy to be with you. I have a little bit of announcements right before we start, but real quick. We're using the Seize the Day bundle, and it is an amazing set of dies and stamp set, but I have also paired it today right here with this die, which is part of the Tasteful Labels. Now, if you're watching this in April or the very hair beginning of May 2nd is the last day to purchase this die set Tasteful Labels. It is on last chance, and I'm hoping that it's still going to be available once this video goes live. I am in love with it. It has so many different sizes and shapes, and it's a must-have in my opinion. So definitely check that out. With that being said, let's get started. Definitely check out the Seize the Day, which that is available until June the 30th. All right, so we're going to get started. We're going to do a little stamping here. We're going to make this amazing card, which uses our beautiful soft sea foam. We're going to be using this beautiful background stamp here. We have used our lovely Octopus. And we have used the crab and the starfish stamps right here. And these are the Artistry Bloom Sequins. They come in a bunch of colors. We are going to be using these gorgeous, like orange. I trimmed them back as I use them up. Those are also on last chance, so I'm hoping those are available for you as well. But the first piece of paper that we're going to be using is soft sea foam, and it is our cardstock. And we are going to go ahead and fold that in half. It's a piece of 8.5 by 5.5 inch cardstock scored at 4 1/4. So we're going to go ahead and flip that over and grab our bone folder here, put our points together and give it a nice burnish. We're going to turn that right side up. Then we're going to grab some scraps, and we are going to use those to help us out here. I always have scraps on my table. So we're going to put that right here underneath. We're going to use soft seafoam ink. And I just really want to form like an underwater scene. So I'm just going to ink up my beautiful seagrass. And I'm just going to stamp it, which is why I have that scrap paper under the end, around like so. I'm going to put one on this side, and I'm going to put one kind of this way. And then we're going to add some bubbles, because bubbles make you feel like you're under the water, right? So we're just going to add them in different parts and places where they will show. Let me move this stamp out of the way. I do have to clean it. I'll clean them both at the same time. That one's not going to show. Let's put some bubbles up here. And I think I'm going to put a little bit more right up in this area here. Good. And then maybe in this corner. I think that looks good. We don't want to go too crazy, but we definitely want the bubbles. Now, the middle doesn't matter, because you can see on this beautiful card that we have this beautiful textured background. Now, that is from the In Good Taste paper, which is also on last chance. It is a gorgeous pack of paper, and it's actually at a lower price than the normal price for it. So definitely, I can't urge you enough to definitely check it out. Okay, let's go ahead and clean our two stamps, and then we can get started with our little sea creatures here. All right, I also want to show you the inside. So on the inside of this card, I have another little piece of this beautiful paper. It's just a small scrap here. We're gonna glue that in the bottom, and then we're going to put a crab on the inside. So let's go ahead and grab my silicone mat. I like to use that when I use wet glue, because I tend to make a good mess. So I'm gonna put a little line of this glue, and then we're gonna use my tweezers, because I don't like to get glue in my hands. I'm gonna put this on the edge, because it is gonna stick out a little bit. because I did cut it a little bit wider just to make sure. I just don't like it to be short, and sometimes our cutting is not always the most precise, right? So we're going to use our paper snips here. We're going to trim that little extra piece off. Let's see if I get it properly. There we go. Hold it. All right, so there's our little piece that we had left over. And then we're going to stamp a crab. So let me grab our cute little crab, and we're going to stamp it in Calypso Coral. And I'm just going to ink that up. And you'll see when I stamp it down that the stamp set is textured. I'll bring it up to the camera. So you can see it's not real solid. It is colored, but it has variations, lights and darks. So that's really fun. So we're gonna go ahead and we're done with the inside. So now comes the outside, right? So we're gonna need the crab again. We're also going to use the octopus, and then we have a starfish that's been stamped and one that's just been die cut and not stamped. So I'm going to show you with my scrap paper here. You can see how the crab is dark and light. And so what you want to do is you want to use your blending brush, and you're going to dip it into your ink pad here. And you're going to rub it all over the crab. Okay. And that's going to give it just a light coating of ink. Okay, you can go a few times if you want the crab to be darker, but that's basically what you need to do. And then you're going to take your ink pad and you're going to roll this like in a circle. Okay, we just want to get the outer edges of that crab a little bit darker. You can kind of tell here on the stamp, but because it's the same color almost as the rubber, it's a little harder to see. But when I press it down onto this paper, you're going to be able to see what I mean. And see how my crab is light in the middle and dark on the edges. Now I could have gone over it a little bit better. I didn't do such a good job of sponging it. But just to get it darker, all you have to do is just add more ink. So you're just gonna, you know, keep putting ink on here, keep putting ink, and then again, you're gonna just take your ink pad and you're just gonna rotate it in a circle. It's called a rock and roll technique. And when you push down, you have lighter and darker on the edges. So definitely practice that and see if it's something that you are interested in doing. It is definitely a fun technique. I like to use it on different stamps, and we're gonna go ahead and clean our little crab off here. I just wanted to show you that so that you could see. I'll show you the main card again. The one that I have, the sample that I made before, so that you guys can see how I did that cool technique. All right, so here's the card. See how that crab is lighter in the middle and then darker on the edges? That's how I got that look. So let's go ahead and get started. We're basically going to build everything onto this piece of designer series paper. So we're going to need to keep this out. We're going to stamp first on a scrap piece here. We're going to stamp that beautiful grass in seafoam. We're going to stamp that onto this piece as well. You just want it to have, you know, just a look of texture on there. And since this is a nice pale color, I think it looks really pretty. So we're just stamping that over the top like that. And now we're going to take our Calypso and we are going to sponge our starfish, the one that's not stamped. All the other pieces I have already stamped and cut out, which is why I wanted to show you that crab technique, because I wouldn't have to, I won't be stamping it for you, but we are going to assemble this. But see how this little starfish is white and the card here has it with the Calypso? So we're going to move this out of the way and we're going to add a little bit on our brush, on our blending brush. And then we're just going to go over the edges, the little corners. We're going to keep the inside white. We just want to add a touch of color like that around the edges. So let's go ahead and move our blending brush out of the way. So the next part that I think is a good thing to start with is we are going to actually build our scene. These are all the parts that go onto this beautiful textured piece. So I'm going to start first with my ribbon. So I want to leave myself some room because I want to be able to tie a bow, so I don't want it to be too short. And we're just going to wrap around about 3 times like that. And then we're going to go ahead and tie a knot. And then I can move this thread wherever I want it, but I like to position it a little bit below center. So I'm just going to drop it a little bit below center, and I'm actually going to tie a knot. Because once it's knotted, it's not going to move. And then when I want to tie my bow, it's going to be a lot easier. So there's our knot, okay? So now it's not going to move on me. I'm not going to have to hold it real tight. I'm just going to make my loop, wrap around, and pull it through here. And you can see it looks horrible. So we're going to slide these legs down, and the loops will get smaller. And you just have to play with it till you get the right size loops. And then you're just going to pull like that. I'm pleased for the most part with that. I'm just going to make this one just a tiny bit smaller. That looks pretty good to me. What do you guys think? So I'm just going to slide the twine over to this side. And if you want to move it and separate them, you can. However you want yours to look. So you can separate them a little bit if you'd like. I'm going to try and separate these top ones. There's 1, 2, where's the third one? I think there we go. Okay, so I want them a little bit separated. I'm going to move them to the left. Now you can see this one's a little longer than this, and we'll take care of that at the end. But the next step is going to be to glue our little seaweed or our seagrass right along here. And as you can see, it sticks up off of here a little bit. And this crab is going to fill the space. So we want this one to be completely on here. And then the rest, this one in the middle that's the longest, is not going to be on there all the way. So 3 down, that one is not going to get any glue, but from 4 on is going to get glue on that middle one. Let's go ahead and grab our mat. We're going to put our wet adhesive. So we said 3 down, 1, 2, 3 does not get glue. From 4 down, 1, 2, 3, this one's 4, gets the glue, and the rest get the glue. So we're going to put down like that, and both of these are, one's under the octopus there, and one is, you can see it really well. But regardless, we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of adhesive to our die cut. It's really simple, and I love using the silicone mat because it really does a good job. Then I'm going to grab my tweezers because I do not like getting glue on my hands. So it can get messy all at once, but I'm not going to get messy. And then we're going to, let me move it over here. We're going to position underneath there. We're going to make sure that this one's, remember, it's right there to the edge. And we're going to press that down. And those up there don't have any glue on them, so it's okay. And this one's just going to get pressed into place, just like that. All right, so we are good there. Now, let's go ahead and grab some mini dimensionals. I'm going to put a small one in the middle of this starfish, the one that I sponged. And it will go first. Let's grab our mini, oh Lord, take your pick tool. So we're going to grab that one. And then we're going to position our little starfish kind of off over this, but since the mini glue dot's right there, it's just going to help to grab that really well. Now you can see my crab is hanging off, so we're going to use a large or a regular size, and we're just going to put it on this side of him because it is the part that's actually there. And then whatever is left is I'm going to trim that end of my seagrass off. And he kind of covers that end and hovers right here where the twine is, okay? So now comes our octopus. Let's go ahead and decide how many dimensionals we're going to put on him. So we're definitely going to put one on his head there. And I don't think any more large ones. I think minis are perfect for him because he has all of these little tentacles that have like these curled ends, and these minis just seem to fit perfect on him. Whoops, that one lost its top. All right, and so what I also like to use is I keep scraps of dimensionals, and this is the pieces that are left over. And so we have some pieces that are kind of a border, and I'm going to use those to cut little strips, and I'm going to pick those up and put them on the tentacles that I cannot fit a mini glue dot on because they're too thin. And I really like that because it gives them support. It helps to use up the the mini dimensionals. It helps to use all of the edges off, right? So we want to make good use out of them. So we'll use 2 more here. So I definitely always save those, and I do end up using them quite often for these kinds of things. So this looks pretty good to me. That's enough on the octopus. So let's go ahead and pull the rest of these guys off. Perfect. Once the take your pick tool is saturated, it doesn't want to pick up any more of these little papers, so you gotta purge it. All right, I think we're good now. Let's go ahead and attach our little octopus. I'm gonna move those out of the way. So we're gonna put him kind of floating like this. I think he's pretty cool, isn't he? And we want him to kind of be, not cover all of the seaweed, but we want him kind of up a little bit. So there he goes. Now, let's go ahead and use a mini dimensional in the center of that. And it's going to be perched like this, but we don't need to put it on until it's attached onto our card. Now, it looks like down here at the bottom, we've used that Tasteful Labels. I've stamped it with our stamp that says Seize the Day, which is actually the name of our bundle. And I'm going to put a little bit of wet glue right at the edge, at the top edge there. And we're going to attach that right onto our card. We want to leave a little gap. And we just want to make sure it's straight. So I'm just positioning it down and make sure that it's straight, and it is. So now we can flip that over. Now this is going to get dimensionals. So we'll put maybe 3 down each side here. And then we're going to put maybe 1 or 2 there. And then I definitely want to put a couple down the middle because I like to put enough dimensionals that I feel that my piece is really supported. So we're going to go ahead and pull those off the backs. See how awesome this Take Your Pick tool is to pull these backs off? Because you can do a bunch of them. They all stay stuck on here. And then you can purge them into the trash can. It's one of my favorite tools. All right, so now let's go ahead and attach this piece, now that we've built our little scene on it, right onto our piece of. All right, and it looks like we're just a hair over, which is perfectly fine. We can use our scissor. We're going to trim that off. I'm just going to follow the edge with my scissor. All right. I always cut a little bit bigger because I'm afraid that it's going to be short, and I don't like that. So now we're going to go ahead and figure out where this is going to go. Now this is going to be touching here, and I want to go ahead and put a little bit of wet glue on these 2, let's see, like this. So it's going to be these 2 guys at the bottom here. So we'll put a little bit of wet glue because they're going to be on the actual part of our designer series paper, but the rest is going to be propped up with that dimensional. That looks pretty awesome. Let me move the seagrass in front of it. Yes, that looks great. Okay, so let's go ahead and trim that little piece of twine. And I have my really new pair of ribbon scissors. I love these. So let's go ahead and use those. They're nice and big, and they cut perfect. So we're gonna attach now our Artistry Bloom sequins. Don't forget to get these guys if you are able to get them. Hopefully they're still available. I'm giving a little prayer, sending a little prayer up. Okay, so we're going to add maybe a small one up here near the seaweed. And then I want to definitely put one right here where this little grouping is. So let's use the large ones. We'll put one right here, maybe right there by the bow. And then we're going to put another one in this corner. I like to do them kind of in a triangular format. So we'll put this one here. And that looks pretty awesome. What do you guys think? I think this card turned out pretty great. Thanks for being here while I made it. So this is our Seize the Day ocean scene card. I love how it turned out. Don't forget about our Seize the Day bundle and the gorgeous Tasteful Labels dies. I hope that you have enjoyed watching. I certainly enjoyed having you. I'm going to give you some quick dimensions. The soft sea foam layer, which is our base of our card, is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. This piece of designer series paper, which is the In Good Taste designer series paper, is 2.5 by 4 1/4. I used about 20 to 22 inches worth of twine. And then the little piece of Sahara sand here, I just used scraps, but about 1.5 inch by 2 or so. And then the designer series paper that's on the inside is 1/4 inch by 4 1/4 inch. So that is the dimensions. The rest were all scraps that I had of white that I just stamped of our basic white cardstock. That is a main staple of almost every project that I do. I will link in the description below all the products that I used in case you're interested in them. Please use my host code that is located if you are on your mobile phone at the very bottom of my blog on my homepage, or if you are on your computer on the right sidebar of my blog. I would love to be your demonstrator. If you don't have one, definitely hit me up if you're interested in a new catalog. It does begin May the 3rd, and I do send them out to people who place orders with me throughout the year. So definitely check that out if you are interested in getting yourself a copy of our new catalog. I would love to be your demonstrator and get that in your hands. So definitely check out my website, inkyhandswarmhearts.com. It's also linked in the description below, as are all my social media. Subscribe by clicking on my face at the end of this video. Also check out my playlists and my other videos. When you subscribe, you'll get notifications of when I post new content. And I'm very, very grateful for you being here. Thanks for staying till the end if you're still here with me. And I appreciate it so much. This is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. Happy stamping.